Welcome to the channel. We are back for another video. The amount of videos that we've been pushing out, in the last week or so is absolutely mental. We've put a lot of content out. This is going to be the last video of the week until, obviously Newport signs someone, sells someone, or any big news. I will be doing League 2 playoff watch-alongs for the League 2 playoff. Not going to do it for League 1 or Championship, because obviously I am a Newport/League 2 content creator. So I will be doing that, so please make sure to check them out. Today's video is ranking the Newport County players season 2021-2022. There may be some people missing or, things like that, but I just found this this sort of tier maker, so we're going to use it off this and then, see how it goes, basically. But like I said, there may be someone missing, there may be someone there that shouldn't be there, but we'll go through it ourselves, or I'll go through it and discuss who I think goes in certain roles. So first up, then, we're going to go with Nick Townsend. Nick Townsend, obviously, I wouldn't say he's the backup goalkeeper, but I'd also not say he's the first teamer because, obviously, him and Joe Day seem to sort of switch the role. When he's played, he has been okay. I wouldn't say every time he's played he's been good or very good. So I'd put him in average. I forgot to say the sort of categories: player of the season, contender, consistent, average, lack of game time, and poor. So we'll go with Nick Townsend in average. Like I said, when he's played, he has had some very good games, but he's also had some poor games that you could say weren't his best. And rightly so as well. So I'd put him in average for me for Nick Townsend. Josh Pask, I'm not too sure. I know it's controversial. I'm going to go poor. When he's played, he looks like he just seems bewildered by what's in front of him and obviously what's behind him. He's got a good midfield in front of him, and he's got, a capable goalkeeper behind him, and he's made quite a few mistakes when he's played. Look, I like him. I do like him, Josh Pask. I do see something in him, but this season, I'm rating it off this season. Obviously, signed him in January on loan from Coventry City, and he's going to be going back to Coventry, of course. And to be fair, I'm not going to miss him. I'm going to go poor for Josh Pask. Priestley Farquharson, lack of game time. Joe Day, again, I'm going to go average, the same as Nick Townsend. I don't think any of our goalkeepers have been consistent, and that's basically due to them sharing the load, if you like. Day plays quite a few games, then Nick Townsend played quite a few. I think over the season, Nick Townsend may have played more, because he sort of played the back end of the season. But like I said, they've both sort of shared the role, not equally, but they have sort of had the role both at times. So it's hard to sort of pinpoint one to being, above the other, basically. So we'll go with average for Joe Day. Ryan Hillier, we'll leave. We'll leave Finnazaz for now. We're going to go Ryan Haynes. I'm going to go consistent for Ryan Haynes. Obviously, he's leaving the club in the summer. Very disappointed that Ryan Haynes is leaving. I think he's a really good player. And, he's a very good left back. He's been with us a few years now, and, he has everything to be a very good left back for this league. He's got the acceleration, he's got the agility, he's got the stamina, and then he's also got the technical side of it. He's got the crossing, he's got the curve, he's got the accuracy, the vision, the passing. He's got it all, Ryan Haynes. And look, for us this season, like I said, he has been consistent. He's been putting constantly 6 or 7s out of 10, and I really do think that he could be someone, or could be an excellent player for someone next season, wherever he goes. Next one is Jake Kane. I'm going to put Jake Kane in lack of game time. I think Jake Kane is probably one of our best midfielders this season in terms of quality. He's just not had enough game time for me. I really like Jake Kane. I'm gutted that he's going back to Liverpool, of course, after his loan spell. I do think there's a really good player in there, and hopefully, we can get a few of these loanees back. Because I do feel as though the loanees that we've had this season could easily come back, because, there are Aston Villa, Liverpool, teams like that, where Swans even, teams that could probably do without them, if that makes sense. Not to say they're crap footballers, but Finn Azaz is not going to be getting in the Aston Villa team. Jake Kane's not going to be getting in the Liverpool team. So maybe we could take them back for another year. But like I said, when he has played, he's played really well, Jake Kane. It's just the lack of game time that he sort of had. Cameron Norman, again, I'm going to go consistent for Cameron Norman. Just like Ryan Haynes, he has all the attributes to be a fantastic sort of wing back. He is staying this season, or next season he is staying. As you saw in the retained list, if you haven't checked that video out, check it out. Cameron Norman is staying at the club, and rightly so as well, because I think he's a very good player. Again, been consistent for us this season, played pretty much every single game. Unbelievable, solid. Doesn't really make an error, or doesn't really let you down. And he actually scored a goal this season as well, to be fair. So, he is, I think it was Leyton Orient away that he scored that goal. So, yeah, he has been very good for us this season, and I'd definitely put him into consistent. The first player of the season contender, Finn Azaz, absolutely unreal. I don't want to talk too much about Finn Azaz because I don't want to be seen as A, biased, or B, sort of, overhyping him. But what a talent. He receives the ball. He's got good passing range. He can strike a shot from 15, 20 yards. He can pass, he can find a pass from the diagonal passes. He can play the short passes. He's a massive, massive player for us this season. Was a massive player for us this season, sorry. Got into the team of the year as well, and rightfully so. He's an absolute baller. I will actually give my player of the season contender at the end of this video. You probably know exactly who it is, but Finn Azaz, like I said, plays the ball well, can have a shot, dribbles well, has got good, physical attributes, and his technical attributes are unbelievable as well. He can play a beautiful pass from deep in midfield and swing it down the flank, or he can cross-field it to, one of the wing-backs. Very good player for us this season. Finn Azaz, I would put in player of the season contender. Again, in Port, I'm going to go Rob Street. I don't know what it was with, or is with, Rob Street. I just don't think it's there. The sort of mental attributes are good. He seems focused. He seems motivated, but I just think the lack of technical and physical attributes do not suit him. And he hasn't been amazing this season. I can't remember who he scored against, but I know he scored a goal for us this season. And there looks like a player in there. A couple of games I've seen him, try and get on the end of a ball. But the last game of the season against Rochdale, he was awful against Rochdale at the, last week. Every ball trying to get onto, he, missed a couple of absolute sitters. And it's been the story of his Newport career, Rob Street. Obviously signed on loan from Palace in January. There is a player in there, but for us, look, he has been poor for us this season. Alex Fischer, I'm going to go in with lack of game time. I'm also going to do that with Kevin Ellison as well. Both of them just not had the game time. Alex Fischer obviously had more game time than Kevin Ellison. But when Kevin Ellison played, he was good in the couple of Papa John's Trophy games. And when Alex Fischer played, I don't know why we signed him, to be honest. I think it was just as Amond was left on loan, it was just as an extra body in the attack, if that makes sense, because he hasn't really offered us anything, and he is leaving in the summer. Probably the right reason to let him go, because I just don't think there is good enough player in there for League Two. Look, he's been in and out of the team. Like I say, he's been on the bench a few times, has started a couple of games. He comes on off the bench, but I just don't think Alex Fischer has been good enough when he has played. Don't get me wrong, like I said, lack of game time. He hasn't had much game time. And maybe you could say that's the reason why, because when he does get played, he's not very good. Next player I'm going to pick is Scott Bennett, consistent. I'll tell you what, I could say Scott Bennett consistent for the last 3-4 seasons. He's just so consistent. He is Mr. Consistent Scott Bennett. He's not got the bestest of ability, but he has got an unbelievable work rate. He will give it absolutely 100%. He's been perfect for us this season. When we've needed him, he's been there. He's been called upon. And he's just been so good. Look at some of the games this season where we've won. And yes, you could say it's down to the brilliance of Azaz or the goals of Telford, but this man Scott Bennett has got to take a lot of the plaudits because he goes unnoticed in games because he's doing everything well. He's not making rash challenges. As a CDM, you can go flying into challenges, but Scott Bennett breaks up the play, allows us to play a lot more creative. And yeah, I'll definitely put him in consistent. He is always consistent for us, in my opinion. And yeah, I'll go with consistent for Scott Bennett. Robbie Wilmot, I'm going to put in average. You could put him in lack of game time with injuries and what so, but no, I'm going to put him in average. I think he's had enough sort of game time to give him a fair reflection. He's definitely not poor. You see sort of glimpses of how good Robbie Wilmot can be and how good he is on his day. And he is a good player on his day. Don't get me wrong. He could play through the middle. He could play off the wing. We've seen him deploy as like the sort of CDM at times in games where he'll drop in between the defenders and sort of do the Matty Dolan role where he'll spring a 40-yard pass down the line or a cross-field pass. So he has been good when he's played. But like you said, there's the odd game where he don't put as much effort or he hasn't got the game basically passes him by at times. And I think that's happened too much this season to be able to put him in consistent. So I'm going to put Robbie Wilmot in average. Timmy Abraham, lack of game time. I'm just trying to see if there's anyone else that is really lack of game time. Courtney Senior, well, he's been injured all season, Courtney Senior, so we'll just put him in lack of game time. We'll move all these down here, I think, because these are all ones that are not irrelevant, but I'm trying to see if there's anyone else that is just not played. Lewis Collins. We'll go Lewis Collins. I'm going to go average again. I think he's not started loads. Lewis Collins. I'll admit that he's not started, and you could argue games in which he hasn't started. You could probably say he deserves to start. I can't remember what game it was this season, but Dom Telford was out. Lewis Collins played up front with Courtney Baker Richardson, and you could probably argue that was a really good sort of partnership, them two up front. Yes, obviously Telford comes straight back in, but maybe Collins and Telford or Baker Richardson and Collins a few more times. I think we sort of unutilized Lewis Collins this season. I think we could have got a lot more out of Lewis Collins, but when he played, like I said, he wasn't unbelievable and wasn't drab. So I would put him in average, but like I said, a few more game times and he gets inconsistent for me because he is a good player. He's so technically gifted and he could play as like I said, a number 10. He could play out wide. He could play up front. He's so versatile and he's got the ability to play versatile as well. So yeah, I'd go average for Lewis Collins this season. I'm going to leave a certain player to the end. James Waite is an interesting one. I'm going to go lack of game time. I don't think James Waite has had enough game time of what he maybe rightfully deserves. I think James Waite has been excellent. No, do you know what? I'm going to up that, actually. I'm going to put that to consistent. When he's played, James Waite has been unbelievable. That goal he scored against Bristol Rovers, the one against Crawley, I think it was. He was a big player for us in some big games, and even against Swindon, I thought he played really well. I do like the player, technically gifted, like I said. Hopefully, obviously, with Finn Azaz potentially not coming back, we don't know yet. We don't know what will happen there, but providing none of the loanees that came in this season come back, James Waite may be the main man in that midfield. He's small, so he can get wriggle in between defenders. But like I said, when he's played this season, he has played well, and he showed us exactly why he can be, a real part of this team. To be truthfully honest, because he receives the ball well, he plays it, he's expansive, he's tenacious, he wants to get into the game. He doesn't let the game pass him by. And that Bristol Rovers goal, I'll love James Waite forever for that Bristol Rovers goal more than anything. The next one then is Ollie Cooper. Look, if there was a category in between player of the season contender and consistent, Ollie Cooper would be banging it. I don't know if he's been. No, I'm going to go consistent. He is just inconsistent for me, Ollie Cooper. I'm tempted to put him in player of the season contender, but I think there's only two that go in there for me, if I'm truthfully honest. But Ollie Cooper, absolutely unbelievable footballer again. He was so good for us this season. He had that injury towards the tail end of the season, came back into the team with like 4 or 5 games to go, and he looked like he just never been away. He looked like exactly the same player. He's so gifted, and look, we've been calling upon, we needed a creative midfielder after Scott Twine last season, and maybe this season it was Ollie Cooper. I've been crying out for us to sign him for 2-3 years now, on loan from Swansea, because he's so good, such a good player. And we finally actually got him on loan this season, and he's been unbelievable. I would love him to come back from Swansea. I think there's a possibility that may happen. But like I said, consistent. If he put a few more not world class, because this is League Two, but if he put a few more 8 or 9s out of 10, he would be in player of the season contender for me. I just don't think he is up there with the other two, if that makes sense. But yeah, fantastic season from Ollie Cooper for me. Matty Dolan, this may get a lot of stick. I'm going to go average for Matty. Again, it just, games passing by. I don't want to put him in poor, because he's scored a lot of important goals for us this season. He's scored a lot, or quite a few penalties this season that have won us games or drawn us games. And I'm thankful for that. He's a good player. I like him. But just so many times in a game, he'll pass it around, or one thing I really get annoyed with Matty Dolan, and someone else does this in the team, so I will call them out for it as well, but I think they've been a lot more consistent. But in the back line, when they receive the ball, it's like, right, we'll take one touch, get it out of our feet, that's fine. Open up the angle, open up the sides. Can I go left? Can I go right? Can I play the ball in front? That's fine. Opening up your body, I like that. It shows a sign of a good centre-back. But then when you open up your body, you cannot take then one touch there, drag it back, and then play it to your goalkeeper. That's what Matty Dolan does so often. He receives the ball here, opens up his body. Can I go left? Can I go right? And then when you've got those two positions, he then takes a touch again to either the right or his left. And then he passes it a second later after that extra touch. I've seen him do that so much this season. It's so irritating. You want to be on the front foot. You want to be able to play that ball out quickly as soon as you get it. So that is one flaw from this season. But the penalties, the important things that he does, even some of the last-ditch challenges that we've seen him do, is sort of leadership has been questioned at times. But no, I think he's average for me, Matty Dolan. One put him above, one put him below. Definitely an average player for us this season. Next, someone again who's been average, Aaron Lewis. The problem with Lewis, he'll have one good game, one bad game, 2 great games, 1 bad game. It is inconsistent, so it can't be up there with consistent for me. You look at the players inconsistent: James Way, Ollie Cooper, Bennett, Cameron Norman, and Ryan Haynes. They'll have 5 or 6 games in a row of 6 or 7 out of 10. They'll put 100% effort in, even if some of them haven't got the ability. They'll still, utilize their work rate and their sort of control in their work rate to overshadow the lack of ability they may have. But yeah, I'll go with average for Ryan Haynes, not for Ryan Haynes, for Aaron Lewis. You could probably argue he's not had that much game time, to be fair. So we'll go with that for him. The next one is Courtney Richardson. Again, consistent, will score goals. No, I'm going to drop him down to average, actually. I don't think he has scored enough goals as what he maybe should have this season. He's had a lot of chances in games where he should be burying them. Look, we've seen the excellent strikes. Not Bristol Rovers. Exeter away, that unbelievable strike that he scored. There's been others this season as well. Scunthorpe at home, I think it was. Stevenage at home, where he just has absolute pile drive and just smashes them into the top corner. So he's got that in his locker of the 20, 30-yard strikes outside the box. But he's also got the link-up play. But sometimes he does go missing in games, Courtney Richardson. So I'm going to go average for Courtney. The next player is Don Telford. And look, I don't know what you want me to say about Dom Telford. Goals, link-up play, closing down, effort, work rate, unbelievable. Top goal scorer in League Two, the League Two Golden Boot. I'm just going to say it right now. These two have put us close to a playoff place, Finn Azaz and Dom Telford. I think without them this season, we'd probably be mid-table, 14th, 15th, something like that, with the amount of points that they've won us. Dom Telford's last-minute goal at home against Leyton Orient to get a draw. Obviously Finn Azaz, that, it wasn't his goal away at Swindon, but crossing the ball into the box. And obviously the defender unfortunately put the ball into the back of his net. But Dom Telford on his own, 25 league goals is ridiculous. The fact that he had a goal drought for like 10, 12 games was ridiculous. That he still ended up as the league's top scorer just showed how important he has been for us this season. And yeah, I'd 100% put him in player of the season contender. Now, this one's contentious. Mickey Demetro. It's either consistent or it's player of the season contender. It's nothing less because every game, 100% effort, performs, plays the ball out. Do you know what? Player of the season contender for me. You will find out my player of the season after this. Oh, we forgot someone. We forgot James Clark. James Clark, I'm going to go average. Hasn't been unbelievable this season. Hasn't been poor. He does make, important tackles. He does, sort of come, put himself out there well and sort of commands himself well on the pitch. And he is a former captain of Walsall, so he does have that leadership trait. But back to Mickey Demetro, player of the season contender. The only reason I'm going to go with that is because, yes, he's been consistent, and yes, he's been, very good in sort of every game pretty much. He always puts minimum 6 or 7 out of 10, but it's just some of those last-minute goals, that one against Mansfield, to get a point out of that, just some of the things that he does in games. That point against Mansfield could have been massive if we were, 1 point or 2 points off or a point or whatever else off the playoffs, and he scores that last-minute goal to get us a point. You never know what these things could happen in a game or in a season, basically. But yeah, I would go player of the season contender for Mickey Demetro. Captained the side a few times when Dolan has been out. And yeah, I don't have a bad word to say about Mickey Demetro. Glad he's staying. And that's that. So we have got down to 3 players who I've got as the player of the season contender. Now, I don't know which one I'm going to go with because all 3 of them have got an argument to be player of the season contender. Obviously, Finn Azaz, his contribution, goals and assists say it all. Mickey Demetro has obviously, been consistent, unbelievable rock at the back, just keeps everyone in shape, keeps everyone in the line. And then Dom Telford's goals have, been unreal this season. 25 goals, the league's top scorer. My player of the season this year for Newport County is going to be Dom Telford. Second, Finn Azaz. Third, Mickey Demetro. That is my order for the player of the season. Dom Telford first, Azaz second, and Mickey Demetro in third. I'll just quickly run through the ratings that I give everyone. So I gave player of the season to Dom Telford, second place to Finn Azaz, third place to Mickey Demetro. And then consistent for Ryan Haynes, Cameron Norman, Scott Bennett, James Waite, Ollie Cooper. Average for the both goalkeepers, Robbie Wilmot, Lewis Collins, Matty Dolan, Aaron Lewis, Courtney Baker Richardson, James Clark, and then lack of game time, Priestley Farcarson, Jake Kane, Alex Fischer, Kevin Ellison, Timmy Abraham, Courtney Senior, and then Paul, I gave Josh Pask and Rob Street. Like I said, guys, if you have enjoyed this video, please make sure to smash it a like. Please make sure to subscribe if you are new to this channel and share the content. Please make sure to turn post notifications on so you know exactly when I A, go live, or B, put out a new video. And comment down below whether you disagree with certain ratings, whether you agree with certain ratings, and I'll speak to you in